Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about O.R.S, and these are oral rehydration salts. And this can be very important for your survival pack or your bug out pack, and we're going to talk about after this. And that is, if you're interested in survival courses for preparedness in Belgium, there will be a link to my website called Survival Training in Belgium.be and also to my book called Bloody Crosses. So if you're interested, take a look. So I've been following a survival training from a professional, and it was during how do you say this? A very hot days, a few hot days where the temperature was above 35 in full gear, rough terrain. Was very hot, and I've been dehydrated 2 times. And yeah, many people would say dehydrated is not that bad, but it's not only dehydration. It's not just your lips are dry, your mouth is dry, and you're feeling a little bit woozy. No, real dehydration. I'm talking about during the night. I started sweating when it was finally a little bit cooler. I started sweating for 2 hours, non-stop, constantly for no apparent reason. It suddenly stopped, and then all my muscles cramped. So I'm not talking about just a little bit of Charlie horse. I'm talking about really, I had to sleep in this kind of position because all my muscles were spazzing out, that I had to cramp into myself. And yeah, that is what happens when you sweat too much. All of your salts are literally being sweated out of your body, and that is where they had to give me this, like the O.R.S, like it's called, oral rehydration salts, and it is actually a mix with salts and other nutritional things that you can take in. And just this, you can just take 200 milliliters of water, pour it in, and you have to drink it. But you can only drink. The body can only digest about 500 milliliters of water an hour, so you can just not put it into a giant bottle, drink it till you're full, because that's no use, because you will flush it out directly what your body cannot process. So you always have to drink in smaller bits. But when you're really dehydrated, you have to mix it with this. And I would advise you, not only in your bug out bag, and anyone who say that for me it will never be a problem, yeah, you can never be too sure. And it's not only for your bug out bag during a very hot day where you have to do a lot of labor, sweating a lot, being exposed to the sun, to the heat, but this is also good for a bug in scenario. For example, a few months ago, my mother was really dehydrated because she could not hold into, how do you say this? She was losing too much fluids by sweating, diarrhea, and she lost more water than she could orally take in. So she had to go to the hospital and get water by one of those infuses, because the water that got in was not enough to replenish the water that got out. And that is where this could be helpful in this kind of scenario, because during either a bug out and a bug in scenario, there's a possibility, a higher risk, that you will get some sort of disease because of contaminated water, either found not good filtered in the outdoors, or water that is contaminated by water that is bought in the store, or by the public water sources from the tap. So if you get sick that way, either cholera or dysentery, then you need to get these kind of packages and keep drinking this in smaller bits constantly, to be able to replenish all the electrolytes and the fluids in your body. So I would say get at least 24 packages of this. This could be helpful if you have one of these diseases, to at least be able to replenish. And it is, I would say, for 1, maybe 2 persons if they have this, but this could be a lifesaver. Don't underestimate this. And if you don't have one of these O.R.S bags, you can improvise them yourself they will be less effective. But what you can do is, where's my, oh, here it is. What I did during a bug out exercise, during a very hot summer day, I went from my girlfriend's house to my house, was 35 kilometers on a very hot day with my full bug out bag. That was in that time a little bit heavier, and my thought process was, I will find water sources on the way. But the problem in Belgium is there are water sources, but everything is on either private land or it's behind locked places or fences with barbed wire, and or they are not be able to be reached by public roads that are too high. So yeah, I had to do with a little bit water that I found, and I was almost getting dehydrated, almost not as bad as during the survival training. But what I did was I just filled my canteen up with water, a little bit of salt. I would say, depending on how much you have sweated, I would say a pinch of salt, 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon worth of salt, and that will be enough to replenish all the salts that you lost. So depending on, because I would say get dehydrated so you know what your limits are, but yeah, that's a little bit too dangerous. But if you ever get dehydrated, learn from it and you will see what your body needs, and that you can mix with something like honey that will help to get everything a little bit quicker to your bodies. Also get some not only fluids better inside of your body, but also how do you say this, for nutrients, for calories. So that's a very good mix. Honey with a pinch of salt and 200 milliliters of water, and that helped me a lot. To be honest, I also did a little bit of rum inside of it, but that is something I would not suggest when you're in a survival situation. But for that moment, it helped getting it a little bit better down. And that's also handy when the honey is inside of it, because if you have to drink a little bit of salty water, yeah, with a pinch it's not that salty, but you know what I mean. Some people, they don't like to keep drinking in smaller shots, but if you have a little bit of honey inside of it, it doesn't harm, and it tastes a little bit better, that it goes better inside. Because sometimes when you're dehydrated, you have to force yourself to keep drinking, and that can help a little bit when it's a little bit something sweet inside of it, and also healthy. And also I always give the example that, yeah, this for another video, but honey is one of those best things that to put in your bug out bag for energy, for disinfection of wounds, yeah, antibacterial actually. But you know what, just a lot of energy, never spoils, that kind of stuff. Good bartering item. But that is off topic right now. So the conclusion, always keep some O.R.S bags inside of your medical kit at home, and also in your bug out bag. I would say get 12 for each person, because if that person gets sick, then you will need 10 to 12 of these to get that person through the period when they are sick. 90, I think it's not like 90% of the people who get something like dysentery or cholera, who get fluids in this kind of way, survive the sickness, which was before this, it was usually very deadly. So yeah, please get a few of these O.R.S packages, and you will be fine for this kind of emergency situation that not a lot of people talk about. Most preppers will, or beginning preppers will focus on weapons and first aid, but something that is actually very deadly, like dehydration by either sickness or by harsh conditions during a bug out, that's something that is not much thought about. So please get this inside of your bug out bag and your medical kit in your for your bugging plans. So yeah, this was it. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.